So hi everybody, today
Okay.
I'm Mimi Rodriguez Adami. Is that correct, Mimi? Is that how I pronounce your name? And
Correct. You got it.
Excellent. And Mimi lives in Rome, in Italy, and she's been in the fitness industry probably longer than me, actually. I know, how scary is that? But we met very many years ago, back in the early 2000s. And in fact, I was just showing Mimi before we started chatting that I have one of her books here, which she kindly signed for me back in 2003. So
Yes.
Mimi's very well known on the circuit. So we're just going to have a little chat here. So grab your cup of tea or a glass of wine, whatever the time of day is for you, wherever you're watching this.
Okay.
For me, it's good afternoon, and it's good afternoon as well for Mimi. Good afternoon. And so Mimi, tell me, how did you get started in this industry, in the aquatic industry?
In the aquatic industry, well, I went into the aquatic industry in 1995, but it was a lateral move from the fitness industry. And as I was mentioning before when we started first talking, I got involved in the fitness industry after my son was born. My son is now 37, almost 30, he's 38. Anyway, he was born in 1983. So yeah. I started working out after he was born. I signed up for a gym and I discovered something that was just coming out. It was new to me. And I had always gone running before that. I was living in Italy already. I would go running and I would swim, and I'd swim lots of laps. And so I was doing aerobic exercise basically. And I discovered at this gym that they were doing aerobic exercise to music. And I was like, oh my God, because I love to dance. And I had been dancing. I did classical ballet from when I was 3 years old. I mean, they signed me up for dance school before I could even walk properly, I think, because I loved it. I just wanted to dance. So once I signed up to the gym and I started doing this, I just loved it. I got really involved in it. And then I was reading more about, you know, the body and how it functions. And I went to the United States, I guess it was in 1984 or 5 or something like that. I would go several times to see my family. And I discovered A.R.E.A, the Aerobics and Fitness Association of America. And so I was able to, in 1988, I think it was, I got certified in aerobics, and I got certified, it was my primary certification, and then I got the low impact with light weights certification. Remember Lynda Shelton did that, she was my mentor. And then from then, I would go back to the States every 4 or 5 months to visit family and to do more education. And when I would go to the States, then I'd come back to Italy and I'd bring the information and the new things that were coming out in the States. I would come back here and all my friends would want to know more about it, and the instructors would want to know more about it. And we just created this organization to do aerobic instructor training. So with the new method. And I was doing a lot of low impact because people were getting hurt doing high impact. Plus, we didn't have shoes back then. I mean, this is when the Reebok princesses were the big thing. I mean, we were doing bare feet, you know. Yeah. So it was very fascinating to move from the jumping up and down Jane Fonda stuff to the lateral movements of the low impact stuff, where you had grapevines and you had more dancing moves, and that just fit in so much with what was me. And then I started doing the salsa stuff with all the merengues and the cha-chas and salsa aerobica. I did my first video in 1989. Ooh, good Lord. Anyway, so and that was just, it just took off like crazy here because Italians love to dance. And so we were working out, we were dancing and stuff. So we started this aerobics and fitness school, Scuola Italiana Aerobica Fitness, and these courses. And then I got involved with competition aerobics too, with the Suzuki World Cup, and I would go to Japan, and we would, it was just such a wonderful, wonderful period in the fitness industry, when we were all so enthusiastic and so excited about what we were doing. And it was just, oh God, it was wonderful. I mean, when those of us who were in the industry back then sit down and talk about it, it's like your eyes still light up, because it was just such a pleasure, such a gift to be able
everybody sharing, everybody being
it was wonderful. Wonderful. And then I'd go to stuff like the IDEA conventions or the A.R.E.A conferences and meet more people. I met Ruth Sova. I think it was in Nashville, Tennessee in like 1989 or 1990. That was a million years ago. Not that Ruth would have been, she was a baby then when I met her.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I was the older one, she was a baby. Okay, so it was a pleasure to be in the industry then. And then here in Italy, aerobics started to get to be important. And we have here the Italian Olympic Committee, and everything is very structured within the Italian Olympic Committee. So aerobics, the Italian Olympic Committee, and as the Gymnastics Federation decided, especially with the competition, is, oh no, we take care of that now. So everything you've done up until now, thank you, goodbye. And I was like, what? That's crazy. I mean, you can't, we're doing step, we're doing slide, we're doing all this stuff, and you're saying that it's yours and that we can't do it. And I've been doing it since day one, and I even taught it at the universities of physical education. So I said, okay, you know what? From every tragedy, we find an opportunity. And so I moved laterally into the water, because I figured the Gymnastics Federation has nothing to do with the water. I mean, if anything, it would be the Swimming Federation, and they weren't interested in it at all back then. We're talking 1992, 1993. So in 1995, I became AEA certified, and I brought AEA here, and I started doing the courses here for aquatic fitness. And I discovered that I have always loved the water, because before I used to swim, but now I can dance to music in the water. It was great. It was great. So, so I moved laterally, and that's how I got involved in the water. I mean, I had tried to do water fitness like in the 80s, but it was too early. They didn't understand it here yet. So in 95, I was ready.
That's it, and the water was ready for you as well.
Yeah, yeah, I guess.
Well, possibly.
Yeah. So in 1996, I started presenting at the AEA conferences in all over, wherever they were, IAFC, and met wonderful, wonderful people. And again, it's been such an honor and a pleasure to be able to live through this fitness era, going from land to water to wherever it takes you.
It's all, I mean, it is all changing now yet again, and especially with COVID, I think. And I mean, I don't know whether it's the same in Italy, but I just feel that really the medical profession now actually needs to join hands with the fitness profession, because with all the sort of implications of people when they're post-COVID, they're going to need exercise, and what better place than to actually be in the pool for them. I think it's, we're going to have such a big sort of coming together again once people are sort of able to get out more and to actually enjoy the water more. Yeah,
I think that the medical profession has been looking at the fitness industry somewhat askance for several years, because there was a lack of professionalism in many fitness instructors. Okay, I'm talking about land and water. In fact, I've noticed because I deal with physicians, especially now that I'm working a lot with pelvic floor dysfunction. The physicians don't want to deal with something that's called fitness.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with anything that has the name or the label fitness, because for them it denotes makeshift kind of people who, and which is not true. Many of us are extremely well versed and educated and have degrees and have PhDs. I mean, one doesn't exclude the other, but unfortunately, up until now, it hadn't been as well qualified. I mean, in the UK, you're fortunate you have the registers, you
Yes.
know, and you have the skills active people and these people who have been regulating, but that's the UK, you know, that's not rest of the world. So we've been trying to regulate ourselves where you can, but you know, it's unfortunately, as we know, as I know, as Americans, it's the money that counts. So you have these organizations that are having people teach fitness, and they're just copying, and that's, you know, well, but we're not going to go there, are we?
No. Just, you know, we'll just keep the battering away and teaching and hopefully bring everyone along with us for the ride, because I mean, I have a massive philosophy that you can't take it with you. And I keep saying, I don't want to have done all of this education and it to go in the box with me at the end of the road. I want to give it, you know, so that it carries on, you know, that you've sort of legacy that sort of these people are better educated, they're better informed, they can just go out and help people just so much more, so much more.
Yeah, I think it's important that everybody be able, well, you have a basic education, and then you educate yourself in what interests you the most. And then you're able, on the basis of your competencies, to be able to use that information to inspire others, either as an instructor trainer or as an instructor who has clients to work with, who you want to not just want to take a pill and then say, okay, I don't have to worry about posture, I don't have to worry about fitness, I took my pill and I'm okay. Well, that's not where we're at. You know, we have to be proactive in maintaining our health and our immune system. Hey, you know, looking at immunity now. And as we get older, you know, I don't want, when they say to me, okay, well, you're in the old age category. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to be in the old age category. I may be older, but that doesn't mean that, you know, my immune system isn't working, or that I can't still do high leg kicks. You know,
Absolutely.
I still do high leg kicks. Absolutely, on the deck. And then I say, I shouldn't have done that, but you know, whatever.
Well, you know. Do it while you can. Absolutely. Do it while you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so you sort of briefly said a little bit about some of the people that have been a big influence in your life. Sort of tell me a little bit more about them and the sort of the journey that they created for you. Or some of them, if they're
Initially, I think, well, there was a fitness instructor here in Italy, a guy, and we're still kind of friends on Facebook, and he would probably go through the floor if he saw me mentioning him now. His name is Mitch Berkman, and he was my first aerobics instructor here, and he was the one who mentioned A.R.E.A to me. And then we got into A.R.E.A and we both got certified, and he was American living here, but now he lives in Florida. And he opened my eyes to the fitness industry and to aerobics and that. And then at A.R.E.A, my mentor, I still call her my mentor, and I tell her, you know, you're like Frankenstein, you created a monster, which is me. And that's Lynda Shelton. Lynda Shelton.
Yeah.
She is out in LA, and she's a spectacularly knowledgeable person. She taught me to think. She taught me to
very undervalued skill.
To question the things that I saw. Just because somebody has a video out doesn't mean that it's perfect. Question whatever you see. And she gave me that tool, and that for me was invaluable. And then again with the A.R.E.A people, because I was involved with A.R.E.A for so long, is Marty West.
Yeah.
And she was one of their vice presidents then, and now she's in real estate, so that's funny. But she was the one who got me involved, whatever. She's the one who got me involved with the aerobic competitions and the people in Japan, Konishi and all the group from the Suzuki World Cup and the International Aerobics Federation. And they were huge, huge impact on my life because I went to Japan every year for over 20 years. And that was, it was a high spot for me. It was just wonderful. And then meeting all the competitors and all the people from around the world. So it really opened my eyes, not only to the United States, but to the whole world. Like in the UK, we had Jan Field Byrne. I don't know if you remember her, Jan. She was an American living in the UK. And she was in charge of aerobics in the UK with this organization, the IAF, International Aerobics Federation. And we met people all over the world. And that was just really thrilling for me. So that was a very, very important aspect of my life. And then here in Italy, well, let me tell you, it was grit your teeth and go. And, you know, I was like really not able to, aside from my family, my husband, who was very good and helped me, it was a matter of I believed in what we were doing because I wasn't finding help from anybody in the, you know.
I think actually people coming up now, they do have an advantage, especially with social media, because you and I were in the days of no social media and how difficult it was to actually sort of get out there and sort of put your name out there. But now, and we're also giving of our time and our knowledge to people, that actually people that are coming into the industry now have got people that they can reach out to. So, you know, like if people want your hyperbaric stuff, then hyperpressive, stuff, then they can reach out to you, or the people sort of across the world. If it's a dance side, then they could still tap into your sort of knowledge and your resources. And then you've got some of these amazing sort of choreography people, you know, Judy C from IFC, you know, so just one name to think of straight away. So there are people out there, and with social media, they can get in touch, and there are these sort of like, you can get the mentoring. Whereas, as I said, you know, you and I, it was, you know, pen and paper or something to actually try and write to people. You'd have to wait months for the reply to come back.
Well, I remember doing telexes. Do you remember telexes and faxes?
Faxes, yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah, it was not easy. It was not easy back then, but and so I depended a lot on word of mouth. So I would teach courses, and people would say, "Oh, you know," because there were other people teaching courses, and they'd say, "Yes, well, we go to them, we go." But once somebody wrote in I don't remember what it was, a magazine or something, or maybe we already had internet or whatever. They said, Mimi Rodriguez Adami, that's the name, that's the guarantee. And that, because I didn't know this person, I didn't know the person who wrote it. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I wanted. I want that when people see my name or hear what I'm doing or what's up, they're going to say, oh, she's doing it, then it's probably valid. Let me take a look at that. Maybe they won't do it. It's okay. But I want that when they connect my name to something, it's like, oh, well, that's probably something that's going to be worthwhile looking at. Yeah. And that's really important to me. That's my legacy. I want to go leaving something that people will say, oh, I learned from her. She had an impact on my life. And that means so very much. That's so important.
Yeah. Perfect. I mean, yes. I try and live up to that, but in my own way. That I say, if I put my name on your certificate, you know that you have reached that standard. I mean, when I used to teach swimming, I used to say the same. It's no good having 8 points out of 10. If you get a certificate out of me, you've done 10 out of 10. Because you could go through, and especially in swimming, you could go through at the time, I mean, I think it's different now, but you could go through the whole swimming system, you know, 8 things out of 10 each level. So you could get to the top level and actually never have completed 2 things that could be the same 2 things all the way along. So you never actually get to achieve that. So I've always believed the same, that I think if you're going to put something out there, it's got to be the best of your ability.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if it's your name on it. You don't want your name attached to anyone or anything that could discredit.
No,
you know?
Absolutely.
So that's important. Good.
So what, when you're teaching, and we've established that you like your dance in water and where you're going now, which I'll come to in a bit, but did you used to like using equipment? And if you use equipment, what is your favorite type of equipment for in the pool?
It's really funny that you ask that, because when you sent me a list of some questions and I saw that and I said, let me think about my favorite equipment. Now, what's my favorite equipment? My favorite equipment in the water is the water.
Perfect answer.
Which is not really equipment. So, I mean, I have people use gloves and stuff, but I love to work the water. So we'll be working and with larger ranges of motion, we'll be pushing down, we're pushing against the properties of the water. And I think that that is what I love about the water, is that you can modify it. I love to dance, okay? But I have started doing a lot of interval trainings. We do deep water running, and now my big thing in the water is, now, it's not just now, it's been for a while now, posture. We're doing dance moves, we're doing interval trainings, we're doing deep water running, we're doing everything, but the baseline is posture. I have them push their heels down into the ground, even when they're not touching the ground. The spine is lengthened upwards, the head points towards the ceiling, the chin is parallel to the water, the eyes go straight ahead, shoulders are down, far away from the ears. You're creating more space here than you can. Lengthen that, it gets rid of a lot of wrinkles too, which works good.
Yeah.
Shoulders down, and you're pulling down out of the shoulder blades downwards. So you're activating your serratus anterior, which is a breathing muscle, so we can breathe better. So we're working on all these aspects. So it's not just the choreography, because, you know, there are just so many steps you can do. You know, like once you've gone through 10 steps and maybe 500 combinations of these 10 steps, it gets to be repetitive. So I've started doing like a lot of interval trainings, and we're doing aerobic circuit trainings, and we're using the pool in different ways. But now everything we do, which they should already know, most of them, because most of them, I've had clients who've been coming to me for 25 years. So yeah. since 95, so since I've been teaching in the water. And now what I'm trying to do is make them not just move, but move with perfect posture. And if you're aware of your posture in the water, you'll be aware of your posture on land, because it changes all the proprioception.
Yeah, I was just about to say that you get so much more proprioception in the pool, so much awareness, which is fabulous.
Yeah, and so now we're working with myofascia, you know, and
that's my passion.
So so it's all blending together, and it's, I think it's so exciting to be able to do the same thing you've done for years and find a new way to do it.
Yeah,
and still be excited about it, which I am. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's lovely also to sort of, as you say, to find new ways of doing something you've been doing, but also to sort of look at the human body in different ways, because now, you know, the fascia has become such a sort of a massive part of the industry as well. And to think, oh, we're not so much thinking muscles. Yes, the muscles are working, but we've got to think about what's happening in the fascia, and, you know, the fact there's more nerve endings in the fascia, and the fact that you can get that elastic recoil and training the tendons, whereas before the tendons were just something that attached the muscle to the body. So I think it, you know, on that aspect, it's really exciting, especially for us. You know, we've been in the industry a long time, so to have these different ways to actually think about similar things, it just adds that additional layer, and that sort of like increases the density of the knowledge and what we're giving to everybody else as well. So
yeah, I agree.
Fabulous, fabulous. What can I say?
Yeah, they say you're pushing an open door.
Absolutely, yes, constantly open.
Yeah.
So if we've sort of talked about the equipment now, so what about the fact that you're still doing the dance, but you're sort of coming, I don't know whether to say into the therapy side of things, or it's sort of like it's between the two, really, isn't it? With this, you know, these sort of new things that you're doing, your hyperpressive stuff.
Yes, the hypopressive activity. Yeah, well, that started back in 2008. I was introduced to it, and I did several courses with various organizations. I got a master from the guy who invented it. His name is A.R.E.A. He's a physical therapist, and he started the whole thing, you know, and it was an eye-opener, because even though when you go through the universities and courses in exercise science, we never really learned, or they never ever taught us about the intra-abdominal pressure and the importance of the diaphragm in posture. I mean, we all know the diaphragm is important for breathing, but that's just one of the things it does. So when I first heard from a colleague at a conference, in 2008, I was at a conference in Spain, and I was presenting Aqua Zumba, which I had just written, okay? And this colleague came to pick me up, and he said, Mimi, you have to listen to what I'm doing. You're gonna be blown away. And I went and I listened to what he was doing, and I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, what have we been doing? Curls and crunches all these years. And what's going on with the pelvic floor? You're actually pushing down all your organs on the pelvic floor and getting prolapses and stuff. I was like, oh my God. What have I been doing to myself with all the curls and crunches I've been doing? And what have I been doing to my clients? In good faith, because that's what we knew. But we knew that because we didn't have things like magnetic resonances or things that you could see what was going on within the body when you're doing certain kinds of physical activity. And well, I never did another curl or crunch again after that, and started paying more attention to posture, which I was already paying attention to. But I hadn't thought about the importance of the breathing. So I went and I specialized in that, and started teaching that in Italy in 2015. Started teaching, doing training courses for instructors. Before I was doing it on my own, but when this started, it just was a real eye-opener to how important posture is, and how, you know, we all know it's important, but certain aspects of it that are combinations of things that we've been doing for years. For example, the yoga technique with the Uddiyana Bandha, which is this expiratory apnea and opening of the rib cage, which pulls all the abdominal organs upwards, because it's this. You really have to do it to understand it. It's fascinating. And then there's various postures that we have, and as we go through it, we find that there's more and more that you can apply to it. So I have in Italy, certain things have gone on within our environment with hypopressives in general, and a group of us have created the International Hypopressives Council. And you can find that at the website at hypopressives.international. And there are several countries that are involved in this, and we have been working on education that is the same in all of our countries, so that we're all teaching basically the same thing, but we're all independent of each other. In Italy, I call it the multidisciplinary hypopressive method, or metodo ipopressivo multidisciplinare. That's Italian. But basically in English, it's multidisciplinary hypopressive method, because the course is addressed to people in different fields. So you can have obstetricians, you can have midwives, you can have physical therapists, you can have nurses doing it. We've even had physicians, gynecologists doing it, because that, even though they don't use it that much, but they know about it. So, and they use it for themselves many times. So you have the medical community getting involved with this approach, so that they can use it for physical therapy and rehab, right? And that because they use it with their competencies in the medical profession. Yeah. Now, we do the same course for fitness people, and we have people who are doing Pilates, people who are doing yoga, people who do dance, people who do fitness. I'm putting it in the water, and I call it Hypo H2O. And so you have the fitness people doing it, and they're adapting it to whatever they do. So you can have somebody who's doing Pilates, and all of a sudden, I tell people, you know, people who are good at Pilates, and there are lots of people who are Pilates teachers. The ones who are good are all good. I mean, you can't say they're good, you know, maybe they have different approaches, but they're good. But when you add in this, it's like, oh my God, it's like putting the chair.
Yeah.
Step that makes a difference in the breathing, in the posture, that can be applied to Pilates. What's good is that what we do with hypopressives is complementary to everything. So a runner in the sports fields, you can do it. Swimmers, runners, cyclists, especially cyclists, men cyclists who have pudendal nerve problems and problems with their pelvic floors and prostates and what have you. And women also, runners and all the sports, the high elite sports, will have some kind of pressure on their pelvic floors. If they have this, then they're not going to be as effective as runners. Plus, with the breathing techniques we do, there is a hypothesis now that our intermittent hypoxia, because we hold our breath, we're in apnea, and expiratory apnea, and that supposedly can be a font of creation of more red blood cells, because we are breathless for specific amounts of time. It's like the people who train in high mountains, okay, except we're not in high mountains, we're here on Earth, at sea level or wherever we are, and we can have that same effect of doing interval training without necessarily have to do the high intensity work that could be bad for the joints, but you are getting an effect on the blood. So there's studies being done now. This is so new and so exciting. So we're seeing this. So you see, you can do it in the health professions, you can do it in fitness for the general public, and you can do it for the sports professionals. So, and it all depends on who comes to take the course, because you apply it to whatever you're doing.
And that's why your area of interest is.
Yeah. So we have pre-postnatal, we have back pain. Back pain, oh my God, it's so good for back pain. Because you're lengthening the spine, the cervical spine. People come to do the course and they said, oh my God, I had a stiff neck last night, I couldn't move. And during the course, you know, I feel better right away, because we're forcing people, we're
encouraging them,
yes, to keep their heads, their ears above your shoulders, and lengthening the neck. So you are trying to separate one vertebra from the other and lengthen upwards. And you can do that anywhere, and I'm doing it in the water too, which I'm so excited about, because that's my big thing now. Oh, whatever, you know. I get excited easily about stuff.
You're Italian, isn't you?
I'm not. I'm American.
You're American.
I'm
Yes.
from New York. I'm from New York, and my family is from the Dominican Republic.
Oh, right. Oh, gosh.
So,
I thought your family was Italian, had gone to America and you would return. So
I was, my mom and dad were from the Dominican Republic.
uh-huh.
They met in New York. They got married, and that was where I showed up, like a long time ago. Anyway, yeah.
Ah, so there isn't, oh, well.
So, and the Italian is just because I met my husband and moved to Italy.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even speak Italian when I came here. Well, kind of, because of the Spanish, because I speak Spanish, which is where the salsa came from. So.
How wrong can I be?
Well, you know, I when I say that I'm an American-born European,
Yeah.
you know, I really feel
I
that
took 2 and 2 and made 5.
well, I've got the Latin American part and the American part, and which is really just because most Americans have come from someplace else, even if they were born there. I mean, you know, it's immigration.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you see your journey going, sort of in the future or from now? I mean, you know,
Yeah, well,
the hyperpressive stuff. So what's next in Mimi's world?
well, right now I see the hypopressives, especially because the breathing is so important. I think we're frozen. Are we frozen? No, we're not frozen.
We were frozen.
I think
we were
that
frozen.
we were frozen for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I really believe that, especially with COVID now, giving so much importance to breathing and respiration. We have to learn how to breathe properly, and I call it 3D breathing. You use the entire lung. We breathe to the front, to the side, to the back, up and down, and posture. So I really see that as being my next step, and then putting it in the water, which is great. I'm doing a course, I hope, this weekend, and I say I hope because they're starting to do lockdowns here in Italy again.
Oh.
But hopefully not before this weekend, because I'm supposed to go up to Padua to a spa place called Galzignano Terme. And they have this wonderful in and outdoor pool there that's 36, 37 degrees. And I know it is, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And so I'll be teaching the course for the instructors there, but I've already told them if you're spending the night, bring a bathing suit because we're going to do hypopressives in the water after we finish the course. So that's very exciting. And I think that, yeah, that's kind of where I see myself going. Of course, I know that I can probably keep up the traveling around Italy and doing instructor training courses and maybe hopefully going back to the United States one day when the situation over there gets a little bit clearer insofar as COVID is concerned, because for now we're not going anywhere. I could probably do that for maybe another 4 or 5 years. And then I'm going to want other people to be doing it more because I'm getting older, you know.
Yeah, another feeling.
At the end of this month, Halloween, my birthday's Halloween, which is why I'm wearing orange. Yeah, I'm going to be 71.
You're not?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
never have believed.
Well, yeah, and I still do high kicks, so.
Yeah, excellent, excellent.
But it's, you know, it's just a matter of knowing that I've got to get this thing together, and I don't want, when I stop working, everything I've done to have been for nothing. You know, I'm starting to tell people I want to train you because you're going to continue doing this, and you're going to be trained, and you're taking over this, and you're doing that, and yeah, which is kind of what I'm doing with the IHC, you know, the International Hypopressives Council, because I'm the president, and I've got ideas, and I'm giving out the ideas. Okay, now, you know, you're going to do this, because I don't want this to die.
No,
this is something that has to be a springboard for whatever is in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, that's back to saying that, you know, leaving these legacies of not taking it with us in the box. We've got to sort of get it out there and do. And that's partly what our philosophy at A.R.E.A is. We're trying to, you know, we're having all these chats with all these experts from across the world that we've met on our channels, so that you can give your information out and that people can again reach out, as I said, that we sort of get known in the UK as sort of the researchers and having that top end education.
Yeah, yeah. In the UK, well, in Scotland, we have Abby Maydew. She's doing some great work there, and she's got people that she's trying to train also with the way we do it, which is particular. It's well, you could talk to Abby about what she's doing.
For some bizarre reason, the UK is a tough nut to crack. We are definitely a very, very unique set of people in every way. But
yeah, but I think, you know, when we talk about the problems that we all have as women,
yeah,
as fitness and health people, as enthusiasts for making sure that everybody's okay. You know, it's like your tend and befriend thing. You know, we try to take care of each other. I think that's basic to the way we are, and if not, we be the same. But that's okay. That's okay. And I think that this aspect of our work is just so right and so needed. And so, you know, the empathy and the understanding and the helping each other along. And that's really important. I saw one of the questions that you were going to ask me was, you know, when you retire, what do you, I don't think I'm ever gonna retire.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
I think they're gonna take me out of the pool in the box, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Feet first.
I think you said it earlier actually in the chat, where you said that, you know, having people saying that if they've been trained by Mimi and your name is on the certificate, then it's, you know, the top standard and everything. So I think, you know, that as you say, that is your legacy, that you quality education, quality
education, and from the heart, you know.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because it's not just, oh my God, you have to do this or that. No. It's understanding. It's modifying things so that you can include everybody in what you're doing. It's got to be inclusive. Yeah.
Absolutely, and never to stop learning. I mean, you know, look, we're sort of, you know, we're at the latter ends of our career, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, we're on the downside.
Yeah, we're still learning. You know, I've sort of like undertaking this PhD, which I'm a year behind on. But, you know, it's still just desperately wanting to try and do that research, to try and continue with the learning, to try and still give to everybody all of this knowledge. So, you know, that's sort of one of my things. But, and on a lighter note, any funny stories from since you've been teaching?
Oh my God. I'll have to think about one.
Shall I tell you one of mine that just actually came to my mind?
Please
I was
do.
on a training course, and it was actually a deep water course. And we were in an outdoor pool in summer in the UK, because it doesn't happen very often. And I'm standing with my arms out wide like this, sort of saying, you know, get into the, you know, postural position, let the legs hang and everything. I'm standing there, and there was a couple of people who'd obviously been sunbathing and drinking, and up comes this guy behind me and goes like that, and I'm like thinking, I'm going to stay professional here. But yeah, so that was, I think, my shock, and one of the
I'll say.
one of the stories from my career.
Oh, no, nothing like that has ever happened to me, except when I was doing the belly dance at an IAFC, and I had on these jingle things, you know, and it was kind of a bra with jingles, but I was wearing bathing suit underneath it, so it was just like for show. And as I went like this, it went pooh, it popped out. But I mean, I was wearing bathing suit underneath it, so nothing showed. But you know, yeah. And I remember one other time at IAFC, I was doing a choreography thing. And my 45 minutes was almost up. And I was going into my cool down. And we were, the cool down, the music was great on this. In fact, I still use it. We were singing, no, the music was Frank Sinatra, Got You Under My Skin.
Yeah.
Okay. So when they cut off the music, I kept singing. And all the guys around the pool, this was in the Orlando, in the old pool in Orlando, all with the beers, all the English, everybody was singing, I've got you under my skin. So I finished to everybody singing around the pool, got you under. It was great.
Yeah.
That was great. That wasn't funny, but it was great.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I don't know if you're going to want to put this in, you probably won't, but I'm getting involved in something else that's really interesting. And it's this wearing apparel that has pieces of ceramic in it, but you don't feel it. It's regular material. It just feels like regular material. And it reflects into the body long wave infrared radiation. So if you have like pain or you have swelling or anything like that, you'll put heat on something, and it's these infrared radiation, the long wave infrared radiation, that is what helps avoid swelling and pain and stuff like that, okay? And this material reflects it back in so that you don't lose it. And so that's what we're working on now. We're working on this kind of thing that works with water, because the infrared radiation works to decluster water. Water tends to cluster in and of itself. So it becomes difficult for it to go into the, hold on. So what it does is it declusters the water, so it makes it easier for it to go into the lymph and into the cells and have this kind of activity, which is really interesting. And I'm getting educated on this now, so I'm
very
to do with water. I love water. So
yeah, very interesting, especially if it's sort of like anything for the lymphatics, because I've got quite an interest in lymphedema and lipedema. I've done a couple of talks at the Lymphedema Society, so you know, working with people with that sort of condition. So when you're talking about posture, I was sitting there and imagining some of my lymphedema ladies, because of course they are very challenged in posture and trying to ground in the water, because everything just wants to come up. So that fabric would be very interesting for.
Yeah, it's the lymphatic. They have special, like I wear them by the pool side. The pants that have specific stitching that goes along with the lymph. So it helps drain the lymph. Yeah, it's really interesting.
You'll have to send me some information on that.
I will. I'll be glad to do.
So, all right, then we'll backtrack a little bit. Have you always been in the fitness industry, or do you have any skeletons in your closet from a previous career?
From a previous life. Okay. Well, when I got out of college in 1971, a long time ago, I started working in New York. I worked for a while in the for a radio station, and then for an ad agency, and then I started working for A.R.E.A Airlines, which is basically how I met my husband, because I was traveling and he was on the same plane, and 6 months later I was living in Italy. So
wow,
really fast, yeah. And my husband had with his father and his brother, they had a shipping company. And so I worked in the shipping company, in my husband's family's company. because I was sending passengers right and left with Alitalia, and here we were sending freight. So that was what I was doing before. And we moved from Rome, we moved to Milan. We were in Milan for 6 or 7 years. Then I got pregnant and came back to Italy, back down to Rome. That was in 1983. So that was my before the fitness industry, because then I got pregnant, I had my baby, I put on the weight and had to take it off. And then after that.
History, that's it. Absolutely.
Yeah. That was.
It was very interesting actually to ask people what their previous lives were, because you know, it's usually something so different. It's just so, you know, sort of opposite to what we're doing now.
Office work, files, shipping, customs, duties, state taxes. That was like, yeah.
I remember with myself, because my initial incarnation was I was a French cuisine chef. So again, very, very different. And, you know, I had the children, I wanted them to learn to swim, so I became a swimming teacher, and so hence my journey began. But it was only when I completed, I think, my master's. So I had 44 fitness qualifications, a degree, a postgraduate and a master's, and I still thought of myself as a chef, and that this was the part-time job I was doing until I went back to being a chef. And it was only at that point I sat there and thought, well, hang on a minute, I've got more qualifications in fitness and in water than I've ever had as being a chef. I don't think I'm a chef anymore, so.
Yeah, that's funny, because you tend to, you know, it's like, after all these years, I still see my husband with dark hair and a beard, and he doesn't have either dark hair or a beard anymore. Just.
Well, yeah. So. Our loves are still as we saw them at the beginning.
Yeah, 45 years ago, because we met in 1974.
Wow. I've nearly left by then.
Eh?
I've nearly left school by then, but not quite.
God, I can't believe I've been with the same guy for all these years. I mean,
I know. And both of you are still alive. You know, you haven't killed each other yet.
Almost. No.
Especially with lockdown.
Yeah.
I know. My husband keeps saying to me, you know, when we locked down, he'd say, come on, pick a knife, whichever one you want. And I'd say, just make it a sharp one.
No, we haven't gotten quite that bad, but we yell a lot. But, you know, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It works.
It's been a good test, hasn't it? We just hope that because we've got no option. We've got to learn to somehow live with it. You know, whether it's sort of the vaccine or it's managing it if people, you know, do get it, unfortunately. But it's not going to be going away anytime soon. So life is changing, isn't it? And you know, our industries have all had to change. Everybody's industries haven't changed.
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of work online. I'm doing classes in the morning for my clients online. And it's funny because my hypopressive classes, you know, you can adapt it to whatever you want, you know. So it starts off with a Zumba warm-up, because we want to mobilize the hips and mobilize the shoulders and mobilize the spine. So I have everybody wiggle and giggle for at least 3 songs.
Excellent.
And then, since we have a lot of exercises that are done in the all fours position, they have to do 5 or 6 minutes of push-ups, because otherwise their arms aren't going to be strong enough to hold the body weight so that they can do the breathing and all that. And then we do about half an hour of the hypopressives and then a cool down. So we've got about an hour every morning between 8 and 9. And so yeah, I've stuck everything, and we dance, we do strength, and we do breathing, and we do posture. So it works.
Absolutely. And that's pulling together over the years. You gradually have more layers that you can add on to each class, and you can sort of in and then sort of think, I'll take a bit of this and I'll have a little bit of that, and there it is. So
yeah, there you go.
Excellent.
That's experience.
True.
And all mistakes become experiences.
Yes.
So that's good. He never made really a mistake. It's just an experience.
Absolutely.
Learn something.
Learn from it and move on. Okay. Well, I don't think I've got any more questions for you. Is there anything else that you'd like to add at all?
I have 2 cats that I adore.
Oh, excellent. I have a cat that I adore that seems to, every time I've been on a course recently, he's literally sat with me the entire time in front of the laptop. So he's learning. He's very, very intelligent cat. I'm sure he's going out to all the other neighborhood cats and teaching them. So
I have 2, a boy and a girl. They're brother and sister, and they're yin and yang. My little girl, she's black, and they're 3 years old. She's black. She's tiny. She's got this fluffy black tail, and she's the sweetest thing in the world. That's yin, my female, and then yang is the male, and he's white, and he's gorgeous, and he's big, and he's strong, and he's masculine. But when they go out on the balcony and they see a pigeon, he hides behind her.
Yeah. Well, that's about like real life, isn't it? It's like humans.
He's twice as big as she is, but anyway, that's okay.
It's like humans.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's sweet. Those are my babies. And I have 2 grandchildren also.
Oh, congratulations.
2 little girls. And they're darling.
How old?
One is 21 months, and the other one is 7 months. So, and I'm going to go over and babysit them in a little while after we finish.
Lovely. Well, enjoy.
I certainly will.
And thank you so much for spending your time with us and talking and telling your journey and all the things that you've been up to and getting up to.
Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to share all this with you.
Okay, take care, Mimi.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.